welcome back to Crimson Glass on YouTube. This is day 9 of Camp NaNoWriMo. It's been a couple days since I posted, but it's okay. I've been writing every day. Better, some days are better than others. On Monday, I did 2,000 words. On Tuesday, I did 4,800 words. Last night, I only did 700, and I have my reasons for that. And then I'm gonna write today, and then I'm on spring break after this, so I'm going to really put away some words. I think one of the most interesting things is if you are a planner, the way I am a planner, I have the storylines all figured out. I usually like to have my chapters broken down by scenes so that I can just go on and not really have to think about what has to happen next. And that can be really good in a lot of ways, but it can also not be good at all. And one of the things I find that's always really funny to me when I'm writing is if I plan a story and then I set up a scene that has to happen, and then I start writing the scene and I'm like, oh, the scene doesn't really work, and how do I fix it and go back? And it usually takes about 3 days for it to occur to me. I'm the writer, and if something's not working, it's okay for me to cut it. I have no idea why that's always something I have to figure out. When I was originally writing for Mad World the first time, when I first started this version of it, which the book that ended up being book 2, when I originally wrote it for Camp NaNoWriMo in July, I think it was 2016, and that version of the story was set at a wildly different time. Well, not wildly different. It was not, instead of right now it's set in 2003 on General Hospital, which is the rewrite of the Panic storyline and that summer afterwards. And originally it was set in 2004 after Elizabeth had Cameron, and Sam was on the show, so Sam was a factor. She's not in Mad World. And I kept writing it and I'm just why isn't this working? And I kept being, and I had said it in that time because this is a story that I have I've rewrote it. I had originally done a version of it, not remotely looking, it doesn't very, very little of what I wrote in 2004, but I wrote 25 chapters in 2004, 2005, 2006, that arena. And that was the era it was set originally. So I felt oddly married to this set into the summer of 2004 thing. I couldn't tell you why it was such a a lightning shot that hey, you're allowed to change the story. And every single time I have to change the story, I always feel it's brand new information. There's a storyline I'm doing in Mad World Book 3 that simply is not working. It's last night I was working on the third time this storyline was coming up. It was the third scene that had to do with this situation. No, well, I mean, I can spoil things that are not going to happen. And basically, one of the storylines in Mad World Book 3 was that Sunny and Elizabeth were going to end up being brother and sister. And I'd have to, and I love that idea, and I love what it kind of does for Sunny's guilt factor, but for reasons. And I thought, well, great, we'll bring back Jeff. We'll bring back Jeff Weber, who's a veteran. It's a great idea to bring that back, and it'll be something Elizabeth has struggled with. And then it was one of the earliest ideas I had, and now I'm just I'm trying to write it, and I don't want to. It's not working. I wrote an awkward family dinner scene last night, and it was awkward to sit through it. It was awkward to write it, and I hate every word of it. So it's okay to spoil things that aren't going to happen. You're never going to see that scene. I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to cut the other scene that happened with it, which means I have to go back and edit the crap out of that stuff, but I'm not going to do that now. I'm probably going to have to. I don't know. I have to figure out whether or not I want to go back and because it's not really a thing, and I think it might actually be easier to edit it out than I think it is. So I might take a half hour today and just see if I can get it done in a half hour. And then I think it will be easier because it's a whole bunch of crap I don't need. And I think that's one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give to anybody who's writing is never ever forget you are the one in charge of your story. Particularly if you are an independent published author, I guess myself, I guess we'll go with that. I mean, yeah, if you have a contract and you gave them a book proposal for certain characters, that's fine. I guess I get it, but still, you're the one in charge of your story, and it's okay to change it. And I have to keep remembering that. So, yeah, the story wasn't working last night, so I finished that scene, and I'm just and I was gonna write this other scene that had to do with Sonny and Carly in a custody hearing, and I'm I don't really want to write the scene, and I'm oh, do I not want to write this book? And once I start having those moments, I get up and I walk away. And so I went and took a shower and washed my hair, because I have Zoom meetings with my students in about an hour, so I like to look, presentable. They don't know I dye my eyebrows. Let's keep it that way. Well, some of them do. Um, and while I was washing my hair, like all great epiphanies, I figured out how to fix the chapter. And so by then I was so exhausted, and I had a bunch of crap to do this morning, so I couldn't stay up to finish it. So I feel better about where I'm going from here, and I'm gonna sit down and like, what does the story look like now that I'm not dealing with that paternity crap? Because like I had a plan, but like I don't know that. Yeah, it doesn't really matter anymore. So I just have to figure the plan. So Camp NaNoWriMo, it's always interesting. I was talking about this, like, this is a weird book for me in the sense that I don't have like, and I feel like an emotional attachment is probably the wrong way to say it. It's like, it's this, it's a book idea that I haven't had in my head forever, which is kind of not always a good thing for me. I tend to be more invested in story ideas I've been toting around for years. And like, I don't know if that's an emotionally healthy thing. Like, it's hard for me to completely start brand new projects and finish them. Generally, I have to let them sit for 3 years before I can write them. I don't know what that's about. So it's book 3 of a trilogy, and books 1 and 2 were in my head. I always wanted to rewrite the Panic storyline. I've been trying to write a serial rapist storyline since 2004. So like all those things have been sitting there, and they've been sitting in my head since 2016 and 2017 when I wrote the first 2 books, or when I planned the first 2 books. Like I had really, it was not a thing that like was brand new information to me. But book 3 only exists because I couldn't figure out how to get rid of Rick in book 1 and 2. And that's it. That's why it exists. And like, I'm not mad about it because it gives me a lot of room to play, but I'm just like, also like, there's not this driving need to finish this. There's not this like, a lot of my stories, I have this image in my head I'm writing to. When I wrote A Few Words Too Many, there was this Elizabeth after her baby shower telling Jason that she was going to leave after the baby was born. Like I always had that scene in my head, and once I wrote to it, that was in chapter 17, and then it was everything that happened after that scene. And then when I wrote Broken Girl, there's a scene that's actually not going to end up being in the story because like the way I wrote book 1, and you guys will see, but like I was writing to that scene, and then it was okay that it's not in there because like the way I wrote the first book is fine. And Mad World book 2, I was writing to the scene with Vinny and Elizabeth. I was always writing to that scene, and I was always writing to the scene where Elizabeth finds Carly in book 1. Like, I had a vision of a scene I wanted to get to, and like that's, I think, that is probably something that's missing for me in book 3, is that I don't have this moment I'm trying to write to. And like, I think I'm starting to get like inklings of what that moment's going to be, but it's like a moment that's actually going to hit early on. We're going to hit it in about early on, chapter 12. Like, yeah, 100,000 words in, I'm going to get there. So there's that scene. And I think that's what I have to find, is I have to find that scene I need to write to. And until I have that, it's going to feel harder for me to really get invested. And that's not, it's fine. It just means I haven't thought enough about the story. And like, I knew I hadn't thought enough about the story. So like, none of this is brand new information to me. Because of being sick and not being able to really work on the discovery, and just like it being kind of an afterthought book in a lot of ways. I don't, it doesn't resonate for me yet. And when I figure out that scene, everything is going to fall into place. But until I do, it's going to feel like chugging along on a journey I'm not entirely sure why I'm taking. It's fine. We'll get there. But, you know, everything's a journey. Okay. So that's day 9. We are at 16,000 words. I'm probably going to have to lose about 1,500 of that when I cut the storyline, but that's okay because I'm going to finish chapter 3 tonight, and we'll be probably back caught up to where I should be this month tomorrow. Like, I want to kind of figure out what's wrong and fix it and get that vision in my head sooner rather than later. All right, I will see you guys at some point. I don't know.